Well, we asked the question, what are the expectations? I'm just not one. I think you can see growth and development, and that's great, and those are separate conversations. I do think in a year 5, there should be some level of expectation here.
Yeah, you can't just keep kicking the can down the road year after year after year after year.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not a 10 seed in the West, and I understand the West it's tough, man, but injuries might break your way, and I know certainly can go against you, but
could be a year 2 where you win 42 games, and that's good for the 11 seed in the West, and I'm not going to kill you for that. You improved, you took a step. Like,
I mean, there's your context,
there's nuance
I guess,
to
there.
that, right? It's not just make or break, and it's a failure if you don't do it. But if it's like a 34-win season,
if you hit the under of your win total at 33 and a
it's
half,
massive disappointment.
That's a disappointing season, and I still think you can also take away and say, well, so-and-so played really well, and I'll say, yes, you're right. It's still as a team. Cal Raleigh, I thought, had a really good quote the other day. We didn't play it for the Mariner loss, but he was like, I love these guys. It was great. It was fun. This was a failure. Our goal was to win a World Series.
Yeah.
And you can say that's kind of extreme. Like, you got the furthest the team's ever been. But I love when athletes hold that kind of level. And, they said it's winning time. So I have questions about their offense, and I think they're fair questions, but my expectation is the play-in. Make the play-in. Whatever happens in the play-in, so be it. If you lose in your first game and you're a 10 seed, okay, at least you took that step of not being one of the bottom, what would that be? 5 teams in the league, 6 teams, whatever it is.
In the conference, yeah.
So I would like to see that for them. My number is 90 that I teased you. That's how much Shaedon got paid.
$90 million.
And I think Shaedon sometimes for people can be, you can wonder, like, is he motivated by getting money, or is he one of those guys that gets the money and becomes not as motivated? I tend to think he's pretty measured and he'll play well, and I'm looking forward to the growth. But there is always kind of that fear for some. I don't think people have it with Tamani, and I think some would admittedly tell you they got it a little bit with Shaedon. He got the bag at the start of the season, and now I'm excited to see what he's going to be with the money.
It's a catch-22, because if you string it out and you make him play and wait for the contract at the end of the year, what if he goes on to average 25 points per game? How much money did you cost yourself in a year in which you could have locked him up for $90 million? How much is he going to command next offseason? And I know there's not a lot of cap space out there, and there's maybe not a lot of offer sheets that would get thrown at him. I understand it's a nuanced conversation. But to me, I'd rather just lock. If you have faith internally in what he can become and what he is as a player, I still go back to having Denny Avdia, Tamani Kamara, and Shaedon Sharpe under contract. When you combine their salaries for the next however many years they're under contract, it's ridiculous how little those 3 guys make combined. You know, Denny Avdia's got a good contract.
I think Casey said with Klingon involved, it's 37% of their cap
for those 4 guys.
4 players.
And those are guys that you view as key, like not just bench, but those are key figures and parts of your team that you think are going to be around for a long time. The Kamara stuff, I think, is a fair analogy because he's a second-round pick. He's a guy that's had to kind of prove himself in the NBA. And so there's that thought of he's got that dog in him and he's not going to lose that because he's had to play his way into this. Whereas Shaedon was basically able to go to college, not play a second of basketball there, and then get drafted in the top 10 still just because of overall raw talent. But that also gets back to coaching and motivating factors and pressing the right buttons and making sure that you're getting the best out of him. Do I think that Shaedon Sharpe this year is going to turn into an all-star? No, I also don't think that's what Portland needs him to turn into. You just want to see continued growth, and there's been areas of that in his career. Stay durable, which he was able to accomplish last year. The points per game went up, even though the minutes per game went down. And now there's stuff like, are you going to care more often than not on defense? Are you going to bring it more often than not night in and night out? Every player in the NBA is going to have bad nights. Every player in the NBA is going to have moments in their life where things are going awry, and they're just going to not give their biggest level of effort. That's going to happen from time to time. Throughout an 82-game season. Can you improve the three-point shooting? Can you go from 31% or whatever it was last year?
I think it was 31%.
31%. Yeah. Can you get 35? Can you give me 35 this year? If you could do that, that's still not elite. You don't look at him as one of the best shooters, but he's got so many other aspects of his game that if you can just be serviceable in that area, I think it's a huge step in the right direction. Does your points per game go from 18.5 up to 21.7, right? And then you would have averaged more points than anybody on the team last year. Anthony Simons was your leading scorer at 19.3. So there's little things you can look at along the way. I don't have this fear that all of a sudden he got $90 million and he's not going to care anymore. If anything, that was the knock on him even before he got the contract, that he doesn't bring it every night. So that's not a new fear that I have.
I'm fascinated to see the offense tonight. And I know it's a one game, but, it happens. We see this. They they could lose 3 straight and it's all over. They're not good. They win 4 straight. They're going to go to the West Finals. Like, we ebb and flow with the season every year, despite telling ourselves,
don't do it, don't do it, don't do it.
How many games there are. Last year, just as an example, via cleaning the glass, points per 100 possession, they were 23rd, and effective field goal percentage, they were 25th.
Yeah.
Their biggest questions going in are offense. And I would say that's been their questions the last 2 previous seasons, because 2 years ago, 29th in those same metric and 30th in the same metric, and now 23rd, 25th. So slightly better last year than they were the year prior. But, like, what are those steps necessary to get to an expectation, if your expectation out there is the play-in? I don't know if it is for everybody. I've heard differing opinion from fans in my life and online and on different platforms where it's like, yeah, they don't need to. And I'm like, I fundamentally disagree with it. I think we can enjoy. I think we can be critical. And I think we can observe different elements of the season. But I will just, for the whole year, be holding expectation is play-in. And I'm stoked to see what this is going to be and how they're going to play and how they're going to figure this out, including Chauncey Billups, who might be one of those guys that, as he has progressed as a coach, and he's admitted this, he's learning on the job. We get to see starting tonight what he has learned and how these guys are going to operate.
I'm excited, man. Should be a great environment. The new revamped Moda Center with all the new video boards that fans get to see for the first time and the new Jumbotron and all that. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's fun to have the Blazers back.